First and foremost, I'd like to start off by praising God and also giving a shout out to our sponsors. We would first like to thank the Ramirez family for being our biggest sponsor and helping us continue to give us the information, motivation, education that we need in our community. Next, we would like to thank SoCal Tattoo out of Tarzana, California. SoCal Tattoos, where all your tattoo needs will be met. Go out there and check them out and let them know AC sent you. And last but definitely not least, Rockstar Plumbing Company out of Chatsworth, California. You can reach them at 818-814-3044 for all your plumbing needs. And now, without further ado, let the show begin. And we're live. Thanks to Mr. Chris back there on the boards. We got a special day, man. A lot of stuff going on in America, especially out here in the greater Los Angeles area. And I wanted to get my man here, Mr. Angel Cortez. What's good, brother? How you been?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me on.
Of course.
Let's get right into it because it's something serious happening right here in the streets, right? My name's Angel Cortez. I'm a former Army Ranger. I will actually even take it back, right? I'm a former gang member, right? I controlled a little crew within the gang. We sold guns and drugs, and after a while, I entered the military. Then I entered the Special Operations community. I've fought in the mountains of Afghanistan, in the streets of Iraq. Once I got out, I went to school for 4 years to be a registered dietitian. Then I met some SEALs and former SEALs, and we created a Defense Strategies Group, which is a tactical training company, and we teach people all over the world, from moms who've literally have almost been kidnapped and now, be able to defend themselves, all the way to agencies and the military. We have a training facility in Beverly Hills where we do non-live fire training, and we do some combatives. And I do a lot of community work. And based on what I've said here and there, people will use one part to discredit what I'm saying. Right. I think more than anything, people should take a step back and be like, this guy's got a lot of experience. He's been in different worlds, and some that don't like each other, some that you won't know the insights of things unless somebody told you firsthand.
Right. I mean, you've seen real conflict of what it looks like.
Yes, sir.
And generations of people that really hate each other.
Yes, sir.
Right. And you've been in the middle of that.
Yep.
So now we're here in the States, and we have our own inner conflict going on. You see what's going on in Los Angeles, immigration, Trump administration, you got the National Guard out there. So I want to get your take on what you're seeing from your point of view.
So I shot you a message Friday.
Yeah.
Right. Based on my experience, right, with tactics and operations and stuff like that, doing things in the night is usually the best option for us, right? We want to use everything that we can, all of our technology and resources, and also daylight and nighttime. So right off the bat, when I saw operations being done in the broad daylight, that right there is not the best time to do something, but that is a way to send a message, right? Because if you wanted to get somebody, you can get them at night.
Sleeping at home,
sleeping, right? Whatever, but to do it in broad daylight in the way that they did it, it's more than just law abiding, whatever. It was to send a message.
And what do you think that message is?
But I told you Friday, right? I was like, hey, maybe people will now open their eyes that they need to be better prepared, right? What do I think that message is? It's a lot of things. This isn't a war on this isn't an immigration problem, of legal and non-illegal. This isn't even a Mexican problem. This is a brown problem, because brown people, people need to understand, we know the difference between a Mexican and someone from El Salvador or Guatemala, whatever. But to certain people who are in charge, and it doesn't fucking matter to them. We're just brown, and they don't like us, and they're never going to like us. If I was, the reality is, based on my experiences, I've experienced racism in the military. I've experienced racism in the Special Operations community. Are there racists in the Special Operations community? Yes, but the vast majority of them are not. The vast majority care, can you do your job? Awesome. You're phenomenal at your job. That's awesome, man. I like you, right? But if you were, felt a certain way towards a certain side of people, or maybe you were just straight out racist, and you found out, hey, there's a actual job where I can get rid of these people. Sooner or later, these people will migrate. The word I to these positions, to these jobs, right? It is safe to say that the people in charge right now, of all this, they don't like us. They want to stand on the high ground, moral high ground of saying like, oh, this is because you're not doing it this right way. We're only going for criminals. We're only going for this and that. There's enough issues in this country that how about we put the time and energy to do that? I wish, as hard as they're going after us right now, I wish they spent that much time and energy for all the missing kids, for all the missing women, right? That aren't just white. For all the people who are fucking and raping this country, literally. So most of us come here, right? And we just want to be better, right? I'm not the only one I know who's had immigrant parents who growing up, what would they always tell us? We're here so you have an opportunity, a future. So you do it better than us. Stop doing your pendejadas. Hit the books. Be a hard worker, right? Most of us are here for that. So it is, no duh why we're feeling a certain way. Some of us right now are sad, we're angry, and we're confused. Hey, my dad, my mom, my uncles, my grandpa, they're not criminals. Why are they being treated and hunted like this? Right. They broke the law to come in here, and that's where we're at, right? So, but these people, and my problem right now is because I know there's races who are in charge of this, and they're loving it, and I fucking hate it.
Don't you think it's a setup when the people pretty much fell for it, like going out there and doing up in the house because now they have more stuff to point at and say, you see what they're doing out there?
No, yes. So, look, I'm calling out all, if you have any type of influence, if you all the gang members, all the top heads, if there is ever a time to use your influence, the time is now. We cannot burn down these streets. We cannot keep doing what we did the last couple of days. One, it silences us. Once we are out there protesting and we show up in numbers, psychologically, that is a message. That is a weapon that we can use. But once you start destroying things, then law enforcement needs to come in and stop that shit. So then it silences our own words. So these people who think like, oh, this is what this is what needs to happen because I need to express my anger. I need to express it is not the right way.
Do you have any people that you know that are on that side of the law, like in ICE, or because I know you deal with a lot of people who are in the military and they take those kind of positions, and what's their take on it?
So I've realized, what year was it when I first came here?
Oof. The first time here, or the one? Oh,
yeah, at your house.
At my that must have been like 3-4 years ago, bro. Easy, maybe more.
It had to be more.
Yeah, maybe more.
Right. So, man, it was probably 2000. I don't know, 19, maybe 2020.
Yeah, you were one of the first. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe 2020. Right. And somebody told me a long time ago, as I was doing what I'm doing, what I've been doing since I got out in 2016. Somebody told me, you're like a bridge between worlds. You are welcomed in all these types of environments. And then I was just like, I didn't take, much attention to any of that stuff. But yeah, I have friends, or I know people, or I've been to people, and I have these conversations with them. I've never been one to argue. I don't argue online. I have conversations with people because I want to see what they think, right? And one time I talked to a Border Patrol agent, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm a big fan. I love what you do. This and this and that." And then I was like, "Hey man," I was like, "So what? I was like, oh, that's awesome, man. You're a Border Patrol. What? How long you been there?" And he's like, "So and so." And I was like, "Hey, what made you be Border Patrol?"
Right.
And he's like, "Well, I had a brother, and he overdosed on drugs, and I wanted to do something about that. So, I can could have been a regular cop or narc or DEA." And he goes, "But you know what? The drugs are coming into this country. So maybe if I can stop the drugs from coming in, then hopefully I can help prevent someone else's family member from dying from these drugs."
Right.
And the dude was brown, right? I didn't ask him if he was Mexican. He's, probably high chance that he was Mexican, or maybe he's from El Salvador, or his family were from Salvador, Guatemala, whatever. But and one of the things that he said afterwards, he's like, I don't hate Mexicans. I just don't like the drugs, and it's them bringing them in. So I'm at the border. He goes, this could have been the border of Canada. This could have been the border of whatever, the Philippines, but that's who it is. That's who's bringing it in, and I'm at the border. And some people think, I'm a self-hating Mexican, and
And I think that's an issue because when you look at LAPD, good chunk are Latinos, bro.
Yeah.
Right. When you look at even the National Guard, a good chunk are Latinos. The Border Patrol, a good chunk are Latinos. So it's representing who's out there. And I think that too many times we get caught up in this side and that side, and they try to think that they're the enemy completely. So when I see young Latinos at these protests and they're screaming at these guys, F you guys are pigs, you guys are this, you guys are that. And I'm like, bro, believe it or not, those guys could be on your side. But when you're doing that, you're just dividing more.
and they are. And let me tell you something. So that happened Friday. Saturday, I was at a quinceañera. I was trying to enjoy the quinceañera and, that special moment for my cousin. But, I was looking at the updates and stuff like that. And I got a lot of cop friends, and I was talking to a lot of them. And, one of them, I asked him, like, hey man, so how does this work? What's going on? And he goes, first of all, they don't have to tell us they're doing anything, right? ICE doesn't have to, they don't be like, hey, by the way, we're going to do this and that today or whatever. They're like, no, they can do whatever they want whenever they want. And we actually don't help them. The problem comes is once they start getting their ass kicked and they call, then we have to help them out. And then now we're involved. And he goes, we don't want to be involved. We're not in the business of taking away your mom or your dad, or your uncles, your brother, your sisters. We're in the business of, hey, DUI, you're going to jail, right? Domestic violence, you're going to jail. You rape somebody, you're going to jail. You killed somebody, you're going to jail. That's what we do. We don't care. And a lot of them are Mexican, just like how you said it. So now you have these protests. Now the cops have to respond, right? And a lot of them, they can't speak because they're going to get in trouble.
Of course.
And I don't speak for all cops, but I know enough of them that they don't want to be there. They don't want to be, but they have to enforce the law. And because they're enforcing the law and like, hey, don't destroy and burn shit. Now people are thinking like,
they're against.
They're the part of ICE. They're the ones taking the family. But when they're not the face of it. Now then ICE, all those fuckers leave, and guess what? Who's left with the problem? The local PD who came to stop whatever, right? So we have to stop fucking right now. This is way bigger than us. This is I get it. Some of you guys out there, you break a couple laws here every now and then, and that's the game. Right. When I was a gang member, and obviously it was like cat and mouse, bank robbers and cops. If we got caught doing something, or I was never like, oh man, I fucking hate the cops. I knew what I was doing.
That was
wrong.
the game.
That's the game. This. So when fools around me would be like, oh yeah, fuck the 5-0, this and this and that. I'm like, dog, you're breaking the law. You know the fucking game. Which is why a big reason why I left, because I realized, bro, you and I are not the same. We don't think the same. And you're thinking short term, and I'm thinking long game.
And I think that's the problem, that people aren't really looking at the big game, not knowing. I think that too many people out in the protests in the community, they're playing checkers, bro, and the government's playing chess. I mean,
100%. And I've been playing chess for a long time. And if my reputation that I just said, my resume or whatever you want to call it, if that's not enough, I don't know what to tell you. But I've been playing chess. I see the videos and posts of signs of being like, we have to be strong, we have to be united, we have to defend ourselves, prepare ourselves. And I see the people who like it, and it's some of my own family members, some people from my gym, some people from my school, and now they're like, yeah, we need to be strong, we need to do this, we need to do that. How many times have I invited you to go fucking to the range, to go get your own firearm, to go to the gym? If you really cared about our people, hey, hit the fucking books. Go to the gym. Go as an American. If you got DUIs or whatever, I can't help you there. But if you haven't breaking any laws, go get a firearm,
Facts.
and get some training, because it's hard to oppress somebody when they're trained and well equipped.
For sure, for sure. But unfortunately, people just like right now, people, where are you at on this? I'm like, bro, I've been speaking about immigration since I started this YouTube channel, and you guys all thought it was boring. You know, I've been speaking about politics, and you guys all thought it was boring.
Bro, this is my take on immigration. What's happening right now? Look, just like how when I was a gang member, and if you got caught with a gun or whatever, fuck, man, I'm going to jail. That sucks, right? We don't want to go to jail, so you be smart about it. The immigration thing. Look, we, got as a community, got caught with our pants down, and we know the game, and we fucked up. And this is how we fucked up, is how many of us have had the opportunity to help our mom, our dad, our brother, our sister, somebody get their papers, and we don't do it. Yep. We you know what? We spend that money on a Vegas trip, or we want to be cute and go overseas, and we make a nice trip to Europe, or we go to Laughlin, or we go to whatever. And as a whole, we could have pitched in, your brothers and your sisters. I'm not saying one individual within the family. You could have got together like, hey, let's start working on grandma's papers. Let's start working on dad's papers. And then, okay, hey, you can't do that much, but you can do $20. Hey, you can do a lot. I got papers for my wife. I got papers for my mom. I put in to get papers for my wife's mom. I put in money to get my grandma's papers. And now I'm working on my dad. And I can do what I can do, and I can do more than, based on what I've been doing. So I tell all my friends, hey, you, and it goes both ways. You want me to lie to you, or you want me to tell you the truth?
Yeah.
I don't have people around me that are yes men. I have people that tell me, hey, Angel, hey, you're doing awesome, this, and then also, hey, Angel, you're fucking up. You're being short on this, and that, and I hate it. And I'm not angry at them. I'm angry at myself, because, like, you know what, man, they are right. You know what? I got to change this up. So to my people, man, look, we have to do better. We have to, you know what, man? Hey, let's start working on these papers, doing it legally. It fucking hurts. I know it hurts, right? I got family members right now that are like, they don't, some of them didn't even want to come to the quince. They're like, hey, it might be a couple cities over, but I'm not sure if I want to get caught up, So it's tough, but that's what we can do, right? Hey, the answer is not to burn things down, because all the protesters are to show our force. Can you imagine if all of us go out there, don't burn shit down? Right. They can't kick us out. They can't silence us. But once we start burning things out, some of the people, that's the green light to be like, boom, shut this shit down.
I went to a protest. This one was, I believe, last summer, bro. It was for the ones Leave Our Kids Alone. It was put together by a lot of the Armenian brothers, and then a lot of Raza, everybody, right? We went out there to downtown LA. I thought they had a permit and everything. And at the end, the cops escorted us through the whole city, bro. They escorted us. They had the cops in the front. They had the cops in the back. They were pulling people to the side. They were going. I told my bro, I said, hey, you guys got, he's like, we don't have a permit for this, bro. But we weren't out there acting a fool. We were out there actually protesting, bro. Yeah. And the cops were very mellow with us. The ones that were actually acting a fool were more of the, you had the LGBT guys thinking that we're being racist towards them. They're the ones trying to throw stuff at the cops. And we didn't. And through that whole protest, bro, the cops actually were on our side. So I think what you're saying, if we go there and actually start, we're going to start at City Hall, we're going to march here, we're going to march, but actually do it in a respectful manner, they're going to be on your side, bro. Yeah. They're going to sit there and stop the traffic, help you flow. But if you're going right up to them and the first thing, it's like you're going to a baseball game and the first thing you did, you tell them, come here, F you. You're a punk, we don't like you. Yeah. What's that going to do? He's not going to give you the calls, bro. He's not going to be on your side anymore.
That's what we need to do. Look, guys, we can't burn this city down. We can't keep doing this. This to all, all the youngsters. I know how it feels, right? When you're not that educated, you're not that guided, you're angry, you're this and that. Look, man, you guys think you're men? Show me you're men. Show me that you can restrain, that you can use your brains and actually do something to help your people. Protect the streets where your brothers and your sisters walk. Protect the streets where your grandma and your grandpas, go and shop. Don't shut this shit down, because that's all you're doing is you're silencing our word, right? And if you really care, if you truly care, hit the streets, go run. Get in shape. Hit the books. I'm telling you, man, if you really want us to be strong and not for this happen or that happen, we need to be more united and use this anger, this confusion, this sadness to do something productive. That I'm telling you, I'm sorry, but there's not going to be no short answer.
Yeah,
we
for
have
sure.
we have to push forward, and hopefully, you know what this does. I know it's sad for a lot of us, right? And we're feeling a certain way. Hopefully, this is the moment where we're like, you know what, we need to unite.
Hopefully this is the moment that awakens a sleeping giant as far as the Latino vote and the Latino community, right? But I think it's gonna take many from both sides, anybody that voted for Trump, all of a sudden now you're the biggest coconut. You voted for this. You're like, no, we didn't, bro. I know people all day long. I know I got buddies of mine who are. I had a compa call me yesterday, a homeboy of mine says, "Hey, wait, estos pendejos qué? What the hell do they think? They think they're helping me?" He's like, and he's illegal. He's like, they're not helping me, bro. This just made it worse. This put a bigger target on my back, and that's what these guys need to realize. That yeah, like I said, it looks good for social media, bro. It's a great you're out there doing this and that, but you're not helping the cause with this. You're taking us backwards a little bit.
You're not, man. And look, it's what we need to do is unite. And I think, look, this is what I think this was. This was a message to us to put us in our place, because they're starting to see that we're realizing that we actually have power, right? So many of us have family members that come to this country, they put their head down and they work all day, every day, and they're scared to be deported, so they don't make any noise, right? But now so many of them had kids and grandkids and this and that. So it is our opportunity to unite and speak for them, because they've had to keep their mouth shut because of the fear of deportation. And now we unite, and and look, we have a lot of power. They're trying to put us in our place because there's so many of us, but we're not united. We're not.
We're not, bro. And I think that's one of the hardest things for us to do. Like, it's like us. There's a pecking order, dude. The Mexicans talk shit about the Guatemalan talk shit about the Salvadoreños, and everybody just keeps talking shit. And it's the thing. I'm not hearing out of any of these protests. I'm not hearing a message. I'm not hearing a message that resonates to everybody across the board, because we just like how we as Latinos come in all shapes, colors, and sizes, bro. We can have somebody look like a straight white boy. We got somebody straight look like a straight brother, and they're Latinos, right? That's the same thing it is when it comes to our political beliefs. And I believe that when you have certain people burning American flags and and just waving a foreign flag, that turns a lot of people off. And that I don't want to be part of that. You could see how there is no real politician out there standing with the people out there in those protests. There is no real influencer out there. And when I say influencer, I mean somebody of a A grade level movie star or anything like that, because they're like, I don't want no part of that.
Yeah,
that's not a good look. So we need to start making it a good look to have these people come in there and use their power, because right now we're not seeing that.
And we've been talking about what people shouldn't be doing. Look, this is what people can be doing. First of all, where you spend your money. And you might think like, hey, I don't make a lot of money, I don't spend a lot of money, but United, stop spending money on these businesses that don't care for us, right? I've been doing that little by little, so many of us, but now more than ever, it solidifies the way I've been thinking and doing things lately, man. Like I'm at the range all the time, right, teaching, training myself. And so every now and then you'll be like, yo, I need help because I'm tired, man. The sun's blazing on me. Let me grab a Monster. But now, I don't even drink Monsters. I drink Listo. Listo's from my boy from Santa Ana. He made the energy drink, right? I go and shoot at Pyru, not Pyru the gang. I'm talking about Pyru, the small town.
Yeah.
And Silmar. Tacos de Candelo and Pacoima and Silmar. They know I stop by there for breakfast, for lunch. I go out of my way to support businesses. Is that food maybe a little bit more expensive sometimes? Yeah. But we have to support. And then some of you be like, okay, well, I want to not just where I spend my money, but what else can I do? And I'm telling you, it is the long game, not the short game. We have to hit the books. We have to keep working hard. We have to, get out there and be healthy as a society, man. How many of us have health issues? How many of us, and change the biggest things that I've been trying to do for years is we have to change the mindset of what firearms in this community. I got a bunch of white boy friends that they grew up and a firearm to them is how to get food, right? Because they would use it for hunting. Or if they were bow hunting, they would carry just in case a bear or something didn't attack them. So a firearm to them was how to, hey, this is how I get food. This is how I protect myself when I'm getting food. But for us, firearms to us, for the vast majority, is only bad people have firearms. Only gang members have firearms. And if you don't like the cops, so again, that's another group. I don't like them. They have firearms. So I don't want to have a firearm. A firearm is just a tool, right? We need our own people to change that mindset. Be like, hey, if you have a firearm, that does not mean you're a bad person. It just means you understand that at the end of the day, the safety of you and your loved ones is ultimately in your hands. COVID opened the eyes to some of us, not all of us. Hey, there's not enough emergency services to reach everybody if something big happened. So ultimately, damn, what do I know? Oh shit, I don't know anything. I don't know a firearm. I don't know. I don't have any survival skills. I'm not really in shape to walk at least 10 miles if I have to do this or I have to do that. I have no combative skills. I have to defend, my family if someone's trying to do something. And people started changing, but most of us went back to, you know what? Hey, it passed. I don't have to be ready. I don't have to be prepared.
I think Americans always feel like it's not going to happen to us.
100%.
And you've been in countries where, man, if you ain't on survival mode, you ain't going to survive.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say, what's the minimum a household of 4 should have as far as any kind of survival gear where it comes to clothes, food, weapons? What do you think?
Okay. So I'll just tell you what I have myself, right? Okay. Look, so many of us work in different cities and sometimes even different counties. In my car alone, I have water, right? I have snacks, food that can last a while, right? It's
in your car.
Yeah, in my truck. Okay. And I have ammo, and obviously I always carry every day. So and I have, if I always have regular shoes. Like if you work in an office or you're going out to a wedding, do you really? We live in Cali, if a big earthquake happens, are you trying to walk 15 miles in your dress shoes? To my ladies, are you trying to walk 15 miles in your high heels? Or dudes who wear sandals all the time? I don't understand, bro. You're not even ready with your fucking sandals. Okay, you're gonna walk 15 miles, in sandals, bro. I always have regular shoes, right? That a knife and flashlights. That's in my vehicles. Right. And I have it enough for not just myself, because sometimes we have that issue where we think, what do I need? And you're like, oh, what about, is there food and water for your kids? Is there jackets for your kids? What about your wife? Right. In my house, the most important thing is water, guys. Water. And then, food that it may not be the best, but it's simple to cook. Rice and beans. All you need is water, maybe some seasoning, stuff like that. Because if, let's just say the power goes out, everything in the fridge goes to shit. So now look at what you have in the counter. Do you have anything that you can make with the counter? I have, those camping propane tanks.
Yes.
I have a handful of those, right? So boom, mix them. And I have a dry freezed meals, right? They're not the best tasting meals.
Yeah, but when you're hungry, bro.
But when you're hungry, right there. But the biggest thing is ammo and firearms, and on top of that, training. So many of us who do have firearms, some of you might be like, I got guns. Yeah, but you don't train. And if you think you're gonna rise to the occasion, you're not. You're gonna fall to your level of training.
Oh, that makes great sense. Like, I mean, you're constantly training still to this day. You guys, right? You guys stay training just to keep it at that level, right?
Yes, sir.
And even you guys aren't perfect. So how are those guys gonna sit there and believe that they're gonna be perfect?
100%. That's why when people were like, "Hey, during COVID, were you stockpiling stuff?" I was like, "No." And then they're like, "What? You weren't scared?" I was like, "Look, let me tell you something. If things were that bad, my friends and I have been spending years training in the night and in the day, and for someone who's hoarding a bunch of stuff, then we just take it." But obviously we're not. Obviously, that's not what we're trying to do, because we're good people, right? And if I had to go towards anybody, guess what? All those crooked people with high salaries that just fuck us, they would probably be the first ones.
And that could happen, bro. People, like I said, people just don't believe. Like, nobody would have thought, 5-6 years ago that the world was going to be closed down, that you could go to the 405 and walk right by it and no cars would be on it, that the shelves would be empty. And all it needed was maybe just a little more panic, and we can get that worst case scenario.
Yes, sir.
That we need that training.
Yep, and I've been saying it for years, man. The last time I was here, I think I talked about it again. You know, I love my people, and I want us to be better trained. You know, I made a comment in I forgot whose post it was, and I was like, hey, man, we need to be better trained. And then I got a bunch of messages, and because it opened people's eyes, like, fuck, you know what? Yeah, man, I need to train. I need to do this and that. And one of the guys was like, hey, man, freaking people in Texas and all the white folks do it. Why can't we do it?
For
You know?
sure.
And there's, again, it's because the culture is different. And if you live in big cities, it's only the bad people that got guns.
Right. Yeah, and it shouldn't be that way. What's your take on well, I don't know what Umarex is, but ex felons being able to carry weapons? Would you be inclined to, like myself, dude? I can't have a weapon legally, right? And I was thinking, like, dude, why couldn't there be a law that after like 10 years,
Yeah.
you
There should be something like that. We're like, okay, what was your crime? You know,
right?
what, you know, if obviously if it's violent, like, hey, well, sorry, homie, you got a history of, you know, fucking whatever doing that. But if you got this and that, and after a while, like, hey, man, freaking.
Oh, mine were pretty violent, but it was
Oh,
still,
were they?
it was still like 30 years ago, bro. All my charges were always weapon related. That's the problem.
Yeah, well,
So sorry about your luck, Gil.
I can't help you right there, dog.
30 years, fool. 30 years.
And then, actually, before I forget, because we were talking about the National Guard.
Yes.
Look, man, the National Guard is now coming, right? A lot of these people, if you don't know, some people hear National Guard and they get fucking scared, right? These people are not special operations soldiers, right? These people are like, hey, man, free college? I just have to train every other weekend or something? Sure. You know, they live in our community. I'm not sure if you understand now how National Guard works. These are people from our community. Now they're being called, just like the cops, to help out and be part in the middle of something that they don't want to.
Right.
The National Guard guys are not the enemy. Your local law enforcement are not the enemy. In each one, is there some people that were like, fuck yeah, we've been waiting for this? Yeah, because there's fucking shitheads everywhere. But these people are not the enemy, and so many of them are now in between literally some of their own family members and agencies that are trying to split their families apart.
Yeah, that's it's a bad place to be with those guys. I got a buddy of mine who's a national. I was like, you think he could be called out? I said, well, if it gets that bad, yeah, absolutely. Hey, by the way, these are good tasting, bro. They got a real. Estás listo, güey. Ponte listo.
Bro, I mean, I started drinking a bunch of Listo. One, because it's my homie's company. But one of the things that he told me, that you know, the energy drink, you know, the market.
Yes.
The vast majority, when it's all collected, we're talking billions of dollars annually. The two biggest companies are Red Bull and Monster.
Right.
And the other about 20% is fought by everyone else, like Celsius, Ring, Bang, or whatever. But that 20% of a couple $1 billion is still a lot of money,
Yeah,
right?
it's huge, yeah.
Do you know who the biggest consumer of energy drinks is?
Could be us, bro.
Labor. You're talking
Oh yeah.
construction,
Yeah, you're
drywall, tile.
You're absolutely right.
They are the biggest consumers of drinks in states like California, right? That are similar to us. Who are those people?
Yeah.
Who? Us,
Yeah, they're Latinos.
right? When have you seen any one of the two big companies do anything for us?
Yeah, no. They, you know what? You're absolutely right. No, they don't. They like, yeah, they want our money, bro. But that's about it.
So many people and companies, I mean, now are realizing that we have power, and then there's a lot of us, and now they want to do something for us. Now, hey, let's do a commercial with some Mexican. Now let's do something Mexican themed. Where were they 10, 15, 20 years ago when these companies were still running? They didn't give a fuck about us. But now that they see that we are starting to see that we actually have power, yes, we're starting to see that we're the majority in this and that, but we're not united. Anytime something big happens, guess what? The enemy sees it. And when you mean enemy, and I'm not talking about white people, because there's a lot of white people that loves it. So I'm talking about true, real races, right? And some of them are in actual, you know, power and control in these positions. When you know, somebody American gets beat by a Mexican, or somebody brown, let's just say the top song, the top, artist being heard
Right.
in Spotify, they see this too. This movie did X million dollars. I'm like, man, these people are rising up, and and it fucking infuriates them. They hate us, and they don't want to see us succeed. So what do? Do you go burn down a fucking cop car, right? Somebody who is literally one of us? No. What you need to do is the long game. And I've said this story before, and I'll say it again. When I was in the military, I remember one dude was like, "Hey, man, you know what? For a Mexican, you're not that bad." And then a couple months passed by, and he kept saying shit like that. And then one day his dad died, and and he kind of just like was going through a bunch of shit. And he goes, you know something, Cortez? Because it's everyone calls each other by their last name.
Yeah.
He goes, you know something, Cortez? You know when I would say you're not that bad for a Mexican? And I was like, yeah. He goes, I wasn't playing. And I was like, yeah, I figured after a while. He goes, it's just, I love my dad, but my dad always told me that, all you guys ever do is come here, steal, rape, and take advantage of this country. And he goes, you're the hardest working person I know. That right there, I didn't change that one individual or by one
One
10
act,
second,
right.
one act, one meme, one picture, one caption, one nothing. It was how we act every single day. We need to hold ourselves accountable on the things that we accomplish and fail to accomplish. You truly love the people. Stop doing stupid shit.
We need to represent correctly, because if not, those stereotypes already follow us.
100%.
So when you see stuff like that, and you got people who already somewhat feel like that, or like how that gentleman was, you see, his dad will be like, you see what they're doing?
Yeah.
You see what they're doing?
And then that kid is like, you know what? My dad is right. And then if he has, brothers and sisters or cousins, he's like, hey, you know what? All they do is this shit. All they do is that. We have to represent ourselves accordingly. You need to understand that and this is one of the things that I knew from day one, right? Is that I'm not only representing myself, I'm representing brown people everywhere that I went, right? So, and then now that obviously I'm a veteran, I know I represent veterans too. Like I was at school, and it was one of our government classes, and at the end, this kid comes up to me, and we've barely ever talked all semester, and he goes, hey Angel, you know what? I just want to say that it was a pleasure to have you in the class. When you first voiced that you were a veteran in the beginning of the semester, I remember thinking like, you know what? Screw this guy. I'm not gonna listen to him. Whatever. He goes, but anytime we had political discussions, or everything that you said was based on experience. Right. It wasn't based on emotion, and you made some great points. And to be honest, I was trying to dismiss you from the beginning, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know. And I just stood there outside of class, like I didn't know what to say, and I was like, well, thank you, man. And how did I change that fool's perception of what a veteran is? Right, by acting like a fucking dumbass. No, by representing myself accordingly.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what it is, man. Like when it comes to anything, whether it's in the military, whether it's in construction, whether it's on podcasting, whatever it is, we have to hold ourselves at a higher level so people can see us and say, first, because at the top, they're going to come and they're going to be looking down on us, believing, oh, these guys can't keep up politically. These guys, can't even hold a conversation with us. And we got to show them that, yeah, we can. We have our own thoughts, our own minds. But as a collective, yeah, we definitely we gotta step the game up, bro.
We do. And this is why I work so hard. A long time ago, for the people that don't know me, I started getting a small following because I was sharing my combat footage, and it's been shared. It's gotten millions and millions of views. All the combat stuff I was doing, I thought it was normal, right? No, it turns out it's fucking not normal. You're dealing with suicide bombers, being in gunfights all day, every day, in the night, in the day. You're talking about heavy shit, right? So I started sharing it, and people find out like, oh, this dude's in the special operations community, and I basically got the same message. This is back in 2016, right? They're like, hey man, I love your page. No offense, but you're small. So how did you do it? And most of them are white boys who were sending me these messages. And I told them, I was like, hey man, yes, you have to meet the physical requirements, but hey, this is what I did. Because back then, 2016, now there's YouTube channels that will tell you everything you're going to do in these special operations selections, how to prepare, what to buy, how to train. At that time, I was just helping people out,
Right.
right? And I was doing it. I was doing it for free, and not charging anybody. And then Mexicans started finding my pages, and then other people from not just because it's not only Mexicans that are in the hood, black people, Asians, and even white people, because white people have bad poor areas, and they were like, "Hey, man, how did you do it? Get out of the hood. How do you step away from those people that these people are your friends or you live here? Like my own fucking dad is in the hood, or my uncle, my brother. Like how do you do this? How do you walk away from all that?" And I had to decide right then and there: am I going to keep helping people, or do I just get out and live my best life? And I talked to my wife. I was like, "Look, I'm like, I keep messaging these people, and I'm like, you know what? I thought about it for a day, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep helping people."
All right.
And she goes, I figured, and I support you. I've been doing that. And along the way, somebody was like, I went to tribal headquarters, and shout out to tribal, Bobby out there. He's I can't say enough good things about him, and he told me, "Hey man, do you ever plan on maybe running for office or something like that?" I was like, "No, man. I'm like, I'm just here to help. I'm just helping people." He goes, and then one day my mom tells me, she goes, "Aren't you worried that people are like after you?" And she said, and I was like, and I knew what she meant. I knew what she wasn't gonna say. And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "You understand that you represent something that some people truly hate. You came from the special operations community. Have fought. You have status. Your word carries. You are now helping the youth and how to be better. Some people aren't gonna like this."
Yeah.
Mexicans are not united. We haven't had a leader, a community leader, or an example in many years. Don't you think, aren't you scared? And I was like, yeah, but I'm gonna keep helping people. I've been doing that since 2016. Some people, like I said from the beginning of this show, discredit me because you're in the military, you're an oppressor. What's the word they use? Oppressor or
Colonizer.
colonizer.
Colonizer,
And,
bro. The famous
I was like,
colonizer.
bro, what are you talking about? Our parents came here because this is a great country, and this is the best country in the world. And you know why it's fucking the best country in the world? Because we're here.
That's right.
Okay. So when they're like colonizer, this and this and that, first of all, if you want to talk about this and this and that, you have to come with the facts. Okay, Iraq, probably we probably didn't have to go.
Yeah, for sure.
But Afghanistan,
Yeah.
yes. People don't understand is that there's other people in this world that you have never met. They don't like you, and they want you dead because you're not the same religion and you don't look like them. And even if you were the same religion, you'd be fucking second or third class citizen because guess what? You're not them, as in how they are pure blood or
Their
whatever.
tribe, yeah.
And amongst themselves, they kill each other. I've been to these countries where they kill each other. They are the same everything, and they kill each other. So for you to think that there's not someone out there that hates the West, that hates to see women, not covered up and all this and that. So when you see flags out there together, I understand the overall message and what you're trying to do there, but at the end of it, I can't. My brain does this thing where I can't ignore the fact that hey, they don't combine. They both might not like authority, the U.S. or whatever, but you understand that they don't combine. If we can magically put both countries together, or put them in one country, there'd be a lot of killing right away.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But they say, oh, you are the oppressor, you are the whatever. I joined because I was born and raised off food stamps. Because this country who gave us so much, every time my mom could sign up for a federal or state or local program, she did. That's how we got fed. So I was like, you know what? My parents keep telling me they came here so our lives can be better. They tell me I'm lucky to be here. This country has been feeding us. It's in trouble, right? Because it got attacked. I'm going to sign up to go help it. And also because guess what? They were going to help me get citizenship. I knew right away. I was like, I can get my parents citizenship, right? Now I can do this. Now I can do that. I put my sister to culinary art school. Nice. I paid for it. When I came back from Iraq, I came back with the check that they gave me a couple of days before I got here. Because you know what I did? I mailed my fucking debit card before I deployed, and I told my mom, hey, on the 1st and the 15th, I get paid. This is my pin. Take it all. I don't need it. The military is giving me everything that I need. So to think that what I signed up to colonize and oppress fucking who? Bro, so many of us, this is our like almost our number one way to make it out of the hood is the military.
I have numerous friends now that their sisters, their daughters, their sons, their nephews are LAPD, sheriffs, other parts of the military, right? And to me, like, hey, I'm gonna go to my. I remember one of my boys. Hey, I'm gonna go to my sister's grad. He invited us. She's graduating from the sheriff's academy, and I'm like, dude, that's dope.
Yeah.
But some people, oh, she's a. Would you rather me say, hey, we're gonna go? She's getting out of the pinta right now. Like,
Yeah.
that's what we want.
And look, I understand. I'm with you. Like, I've gone on big police department, police law enforcement podcasts,
Right.
and I've talked about how cops are out of shape, the need training, they, how some of them fucking suck.
Right.
So, I can't help it, but if I see something wrong, I'm gonna say something. If something's good, it's something good. There are bad cops that abuse their power, but the vast majority of them are good. They're good cops. They're good people. They're from us. Like, when the reality is, if one of my family members gets killed and raped, guess what? I don't have the funding nor the authority to investigate. I'm not going to detect shit. The detectives are going to go do it.
Facts.
Right? If the Boston bombing, when all those people were running and they got blown up, guess what? You and I didn't stop these people and find them. Who did? Law enforcement.
Yeah.
When there's all these couple of shootings a while ago from terrorism, you and I didn't fucking stop them. Law enforcement did. Right? When there's all these crazy ass things happening, law enforcement does it. We need law enforcement because there's bad people. The difference between somebody doing whatever the fuck they want to you, whether you understand or you like to admit it, is the law.
Let me ask you this: is there a lot of cops that I've seen this one video? This was maybe 3 or 4 months ago. It wasn't in California. It was at a state. I'm not sure where. There was a guy like behind the window right there, but there was a small, that 42-inch fence they have. He obviously was a little bit off. His sister had called in, and he had a knife, and he starts walking towards him, and these cops just let off, and all of them, they all shoot. Obviously, the guy dies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, what's wrong with you guys? You guys that scared that, this guy's barely, you could tell he's not throwing it. He's just walking towards them and they shoot him. Do you think there should be a little more restraint when it comes to officers shooting?
So yes and no. There is, when we train, there's this thing, if you can look it up, there's like this thing called a 21-foot rule.
Okay.
Right? If I have a knife and I'm about 21 feet away from you and you shoot at me, you might shoot and turn off the lights and I'm dead.
Yeah.
But if I'm hopped up or mentally I'm not there or I'm just angry, chances are high that I can still, I might die, I'll probably be dead, but I can still get one on you, one stab on you, and then you might die. So the thing with knives, it gets tricky, and there's enough videos out there that prove this stuff, right? I was training this LA high school teacher, and he goes, Angel, why don't people just shoot them in the leg?
Oh yeah. Nah.
And then we were training, and then there's big ass pieces of steel that I make him shoot and walk, right? And then he was missing it from fucking, like, I don't know, 10 yards away, and he goes, and with the, I didn't even say anything. He just looks at me and he goes, yeah, this is not as easy as you think. And I'm like, and this is a controlled environment,
Right?
You're not moving, the steel's not moving, your heart rate's not up, right? And the piece of steel is how big? Bigger than me. And you're saying, why don't you shoot him in the leg? And then, not to mention, if you don't understand human anatomy, if you shoot in certain parts of like the thighs, they will bleed out within seconds.
Right.
So, but is there some people who are so scared, some people who are cops that shouldn't be cops, that pull that trigger right away? Fuck yes. I see it, but more importantly, I'm not a cop. I talk to enough cops that they're like, man, there are so many people that don't need to be fucking cops. Hey, and I hate it because, again, back early when I was saying, look, I don't speak for all cops, but I speak for some.
Right.
They can't speak because they're going to get in trouble. when we train some cops and we bring up this or we bring up that, or they bring it up themselves, they're like, I can't do shit about it. I gotta fucking, this fool's gotta be in my unit. He's protecting my back, or he's protecting my friend's back. And I hate it because they're fucking scared. They don't want to train, right? If your department, if a department trains jujitsu, grappling, wrestling,
Right.
the percentage of injuries done on the officers, calls of excessive force and all that go down. You know why? Because now they're trained and they know how to control the situation better. And then in jiu-jitsu, it puts you in stressful situations. Like you're literally, you're trying not to get choked out.
Right, literally.
So if you do this day in and day out, so then you come up in a car and then you see it because there's so many videos out there of cops that you can tell, bro, wait, hey, that dude trains. He de-escalated this situation so fast. The perp is not dead. Nothing's wrong with him. The cop didn't get hurt. Boom. Hey, you want to fight it? Go to court. You're going to jail.
You ever have a conversation with any of those officers about the such high amount of police lawsuits and all that from the officers? Because I mean, I think in LA alone, it's like, I don't know, maybe like 40 million or 100 million last year just in lawsuits. And I'm thinking like, man, why don't they make it where if a cop really does something stupid like that, they go after his pension like anybody else in the workforce sometimes when you screw up that bad?
Well, man, you can do what if this and that because there's so many
Right.
different situations. The bottom line is some of these, like the running joke is, I think for all of us, not, well, I mean, there's a lot of running jokes, but like, let's just say you get excessive force and you're in the good, you're gonna get paid, right? Like if you didn't do anything wrong and it's like they're looking for a perp, they think you're the perp, they fucking slam you down, but meanwhile the other cops got the real perp around the corner, right away you're gonna get paid if you want. And the thing is, sue. This fucking country loves to sue, whether you fucked up the construction job and this happened,
yeah, for sure.
or for whatever. So I don't think it's like a issue of departments and suing. I think this country loves to fucking sue.
For sure. But I know the what's the name is still there as far as the, what do they call it? The blue shield or whatnot, that cops still have that thing. And I guess it's just like a gang thing. I guess just like a military thing. You can have one guy who's bad and nobody really wants to say anything because it's
yep. And that's why some cops leave. That's why some cops fucking hate it. But the thing is, this mentality is it's in us all the time. How many times you go to a Dodger game and then if the rival team is there and they fucking fight. Meanwhile, if these two fucking fools were together at a carne asada without their stupid fucking hats, they wouldn't fight. They'd be like, hey, this dude fucking, Joe's fucking cool. David, what the fuck, yeah. And then you go to a baseball game and you fucking fight. So this mentality of us versus them, some people can't like handle that.
like with us over here on this side of town, when we throw the turkey giveaways, cops come, do security, show up, like they show up in force, bro, which is cool. They support. The same thing with the backpack giveaway. They come, they support. And to me, that's a great way to build some type of rapport with the community. What do you think that both sides can do maybe a little bit better to make the the relationship between the community and the LAPD? Because I think it's probably an all-time high, like low as far as good relationship.
It is, and social media has done a phenomenal job of connecting us, right? Like if you have family that you haven't seen that are out of state or the country, or friends you haven't seen, like me, military friends that I haven't seen in a while, and now I get to keep up with what's going on with them, right? And it's done great things, but it's also done terrible things in dividing us, because if you left it up to social media alone and you based on what you saw, you would assume that there are just two sides and they fucking hate each other, when in reality there's a bunch of people in the middle, some right here, some right there. For example, the people on the street, there's everyone who's protesting, because obviously of who I am and all the different worlds I'm associated with. How many fucking posts do you think I've seen from military meme pages, or 2A pages of like peaceful protests, and then it's them only focusing on the car on fire?
Right.
But it's like, come on, dog. Why are you doing that? Why are you acting stupid? That's not everybody.
Right.
But you want to post that. The cop who's doing excessive force and is fucking scared, and now he fucking smoked somebody when he probably shouldn't have. Is that everybody? Is that all the cops? No. So we have to understand, like, look, man, social media is dividing us. It's sharing sometimes, just the extreme version of it. Because what? Maybe because it's not cool or the algorithm doesn't work as well. They're like, hey, there's a lot of people in the middle.
And
But how what to do? This is what I've been doing. I go, and spend time. Talk to the cops. Build the relationships. There is no short answer of like, hey, if you do this right now, everything falls down, everything's peachy and great. No,
That's
man,
right.
it's go talk to them, tell them what's up. A bunch of I was at the No Man's Land lowrider show in Santa Ana. A bunch of cops came by, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? And I gave them some drinks. I was like, oh, it's a hot day, and then we talked so and so, and I was like, hey, we chop it up for a bit. And then, well, they know me because of social media, and,
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, what's up?" Boom, and then one of their buddies, says, "Oh, what's up, dude? Whatever." And then, I go kick it with the homies, and then they see this and they see that, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? Hey, I guess we can talk."
Yeah, for sure, bro. For sure. And that's exactly how it is at the park when we do our thing, because my homies always show up. So I eat on those cholos way, and the
Yeah.
cops are right there, and I go talk to the cops. I go talk to them and show them that, hey, we're not bad people. We're this. Yeah, they know what it is already, right? And I think that is a great way to sit there and get that communication going, because that's what it comes down to. It comes down to not having that communication. And with you, you're definitely in the middle. If you go like that to the camera over there,
Bro,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I did this on purpose.
Hold on,
So,
show, Chris. There you
right?
go.
Look, if you can't see it, I got the American flag and the Mexican flag. I did it for various reasons. One, and I want to talk. I know if people don't follow or don't even follow the page, just look at what I've been doing in all the worlds that I've been. I know I represent the culture in places that many of us have been denied or not welcomed, or it's hard to make it. But because that I've made it, there's no denying the work that I've done and what I've been doing. So these people have to look at me. I am a walking, talking Mexican flag, but I put it there for them so they can fucking see it, and it burns. Because look, not all white people are racist. The vast majority of them are not. But you and I know the look when somebody doesn't fucking like you,
Oh yeah.
right? We know when they talk to you. We know when they dismiss you. So I put it because of them, and also because I'm proud of it. Also because there's some people in the middle. I hear all the time, Angel, why can't more Mexicans be like you? Why can't? And I tell them, I was like, there are a lot of Mexicans like me. I'm like, you now, based on the things that you've done in your life, I've only, and who you associate with and what you do, you've only ran into me. And because of what I've done, now you and I get to meet. But there are a lot of people like me. And then same with the American flag. I go, I go to, you name it, Santa Ana, Garden Grove, Anaheim, and they have this perception of like, I know you love Mexico. I know you love where you're from. I do too. But we're here for a reason, homie. Your parents brought you here for a reason. Why? Because this is the best place on earth, right? And like I said, hey, these colors don't run, and they're not gonna hide, and it goes for both flags. And I know what I do when I go into these worlds, and they are confused because some of the things that I represent they don't like, but they're like, but I like you. Like, for example, oh, you're former special operations guy. That's awesome. Oh, you donated a kidney to somebody within the special operations community's spouse. That's awesome. Oh wait, but you're a former game member.
Yeah.
But I thought I trained some SWAT teams. I won't say where because I don't want to give too much detail. After the training, the SWAT guy pulls me to the side, and because we talked in between the break, we talked a little bit about my past, and he goes, hey man, I always just assumed everybody who ever sold drugs was just an evil person. I didn't know that you did it because, hey, you know what? I got to feed my brothers and my sisters. I got to feed myself. But then the moment you could stop, you stopped and you joined the military. I never saw it as, it's just something people are doing for that moment, but they don't want to.
Right.
He goes, and thank you for sharing that. He goes, to be honest, you're the only person I've ever talked to. Everyone else, when that we come close to these worlds, I'm just arresting them.
And that's deep, bro, because you're showing them the struggle, and you're showing them that you're breaking that stereotype
Yeah.
for them. And it'll hopefully help him out dealing with other people and saying, hey, this could be like, oh boy, man, that's exactly what they think. And that's a great thing. But talking about the cholo thing, I saw a post you made, or I think it was an interview that you were talking about how the cholo or the gang member part of your bio, that some people were wanting you to take that down from your bio on your Instagram.
Yeah, man. So fuck. All right. So I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but like sponsorships in the gun community, it's worth a lot of money, right? So, one of my buddies was like, "Hey, man, you got to take that former gang member part away." He goes, "You're losing money, tens of thousands of dollars. I won't bring up who or what the company is, but he's making about over $100,000 on sponsorships."
Wow.
Just on this one sponsor. Not, I shouldn't have said sponsorships. It's just
one
sponsor.
Wow.
And he goes, "You're losing. You're leaving money on the table, Angel. If you want to be sponsored too, I'm telling you, I talked to these companies and they don't want to work with that." But so, okay, I can either keep doing what I'm doing, put former gang member, turn Army Ranger in my bio, and I've gotten so many messages of people being like, "You know what, man? Seeing you out gives me hope." And then they'll send me a message, and then it'll be like, "Hey, I see them in the military, or now they're a cop, or now they work in plumbing or whatever, right?"
Right.
I'd rather do that than be a good boy, only show former Army Ranger the things that these companies want to see, so I can get paid. And I talked to my wife, and I asked her, I was like, "Look, man, so and so told me this, and if I want to be sponsored like him, I got to take it away, but I don't want to." And she goes, "I agree with you." I'm telling her basically, our kids, you, me, I'm not making money on purpose because I won't take that away. And this is why I love her, because she was like, "I understand, and you know what? We have enough."
That's right. You stood on your moral principle, man, because that is a great part of your story, and that helps a lot of people in our community for sure, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. And I talked about this because now, I mean, fuck, the first time I was here, I was just freshly out. But now I'm an international speaker, right? Internationally, I've trained people, been on TV, worked with National Geographic and stuff like that. And could I have done more? Could things have happened faster if I just played a be the good old boy? Yeah. But no, man, I rather help people out, help my people, and than that shit, man. My heart is in the veteran community and the low income community, because that's where I come from. That's where fucking our people need help.
Now, as far as giving, I mean, you're more than willing to give. You give a kidney, man. Talk to me about that. How did that come about, and how did that affect you in the long run and now?
So, a little while ago, I donated a kidney to my friend's wife. He was in the special operations community as well. And as you can tell, the company, it's hard to find good dudes, because people, believe it or not, special operation guys get out, and some of them, they just let themselves go. They don't stay current with their skills. And so it's hard to find people that we can bring into the company. And then sometimes we have dudes who are still in shape to keep current in their skills, but they have zero to no people skills. And I'm like, "Dog, this is a business. We got to be able to talk to people. We got to be able to communicate. And this,
Why is that? Do you think they have no people skill? They're just used to dealing with other grunts, or
yeah, they're just fucking savages. They're good what they're good for. If I'm gonna go to war, hey, I'll fucking, hey, homie, come with me.
I
But
don't need you to talk to people. I need you to.
yeah, I don't need you to talk, bro. I mean, just flank right, left, watch whatever. Yes, but like, but to a business, like you're just not there. But anyways, I found a dude. As a matter of fact, when I was doing some community work, and he was doing some community work as well, in his respective area. And I was like, "Hey, bro, come work with us." And him and I, we worked for a while together, and then but so you kind of get to know their, like, how they are, right?
Right.
And one day I can tell something was bugging him, and I was like, "Bro," I was like, "What's bugging you?" And he goes, "Ah, nothing, man." And I knew he was fucking lying. And then, like, after a while, I was like, "Bro, what is bugging you? It's in your face. Like, I can see it." And at that point, I knew his wife had some health issues, but I didn't know how bad it was. He's like, "Oh, Larissa, she's about to enter stage 5 kidney failure.
Oh.
I try to give her a kidney. I'm not O positive. And right then and there, I was like, oh, I'm O positive. I mean, I'm talking in my head. I was like,
Right.
I'm O positive, and I was like, fucking give her one. And then I was like, you know what? Yeah. And I was like, hey, I'm O positive. I'll give her one. And he was like, oh, no, 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 it's okay, man. Some people are submitting. They're putting their name to see if they can. And and then I was like, bro, I'm serious, man. I'll give her one. And then he's like, okay, well, if you're serious, I can send you the information for UCLA for you to get tested. And about a week happened, passed by, and then he didn't send me the info. And I was like, hey, bro, I'm serious. Send me the information. And he's like, oh man. And he goes, I didn't know you were serious. I was like, bro, I'm serious. I think like 67, 68 people, because they know a lot of people, and
Right.
and she's really loved, and he's loved, and his family's loved. Because by the way, she was in stage 5 kidney failure, not because she like was doing drugs or anything like that. It was just genetically she just got screwed. And out of all those people, one day I get the call. They're like, "You're the match," and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready right now." And the lady's like, "Well, not that fast. You actually have to go through a lot of testing because not only they want to see if your body can take it. So you're talking full body scans, MRIs. They check your heart, extensive blood work, and after 8 months, they call me and because it was test, retest, and I mean one of them, the heart thing, they were like, hey, your heartbeat is really low. We're gonna do more tests on your heart, and then I did more tests, and it was funny because the place that I went to go do the test, it's like nothing but like 70-year-old men, and then and then me, and I was like, and then even the lady was like, Angel Cortez, and I was like, yeah, right here, and she goes, and then she goes, oh, you're here for kidney donation? I was like, yeah.
Right.
And then we do more tests, and after the test, she goes, you work out a lot, huh? And I was like, yeah. She goes, that's what it is, but they just have to double check, triple check. They can't just go off by like, oh, he looks like he works out.
Right.
That's why his resting heart rate is at 46. Um, so then one day UCLA calls me. They're like, hey, are you the board passed? You passed it. They said that they checked you off. Do you want to do it? And I was like, yes. So 5 in the morning one day, I freaking walked into UCLA and donated a kidney. And it was funny because I don't know what it is for me, but every time during the drive is when I think about things that I normally don't think about. And so if I'm driving to the range or back from the range, I'd be like, man, I'd be scared. I'd be like, fuck, bro, what happens if you die in the operation table? Do you still want to do it? And then I'd be like, yeah, but fuck, man, I'm nervous. And then other days I'd be thinking about it. I'll be like, I'm fucking ready now. Let's go.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that I was scared of was the surgery. The surgery was the easiest part. I was asleep. The hard part that I never even gave 1 second to think about was the recovery.
Right.
The surgeons told me, they're like, it's gonna take about a year and a half for you to feel like yourself. And I remember thinking like, bro, I'm me. I'm gonna feel like
right,
me.
huh?
So when I fell asleep, right, I woke up to the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. And to the point where I was asking for more pain meds, and then literally as I'm beginning to cry, all I say was, "How's Larissa?" And the nurse who's is receiving me at whatever room I was at, she doesn't know who Larissa is. She's like, "Who's Larissa?" I don't know. And then she was like, "Is that the person you donated to?" And then I pass out because they gave me more meds, and then I woke up, and I couldn't, so what it is I have 3 small cuts and then the big one, which is like, it looks like a C-section, right?
Shit.
And I was at the hospital for a hot minute, but then once I got sent home, bro, I couldn't lift up anything more than 10 pounds. I couldn't tie my own shoes. My wife had to put on my socks and shoes. She even had to shower me. You can't turn, you can't do it. You do everything right with your core muscles. And I remember the day I went to. My wife was like, "Oh, let me give you a shower, bath." And I walk in there, and she takes the bandages off. It's like, I knew they cut me and took his kidney out, but once you look down there and you see all the stitching, I was like, "Oh shit, these motherfuckers really did it."
Ooh, that's crazy. I mean, there's very few people that would do that for somebody they kind of. I mean, I don't know if you know this guy for a long time, and
No,
but how grateful is that family to you, bro?
super grateful, and the reason why it was so easy to do it, man, it's like, look, man, the divorce rate out here is high. In the military, it's even higher. So to find a woman that's gonna stick by you, hold the house down while you go do your thing, it's hard to find. I don't have to tell you, just in here, out here in this feeling world, that's hard to find.
Yes.
And she reminds me a lot of my wife. Right? When my son was born, I was in Afghanistan. When my daughter was born, I was away. I've spent so much time away from my family. And even when I was in the States, I still wasn't next to my family. I was at some school training, or at some training exercise, or just on the field, right? Whatever. So seeing her, and then it reminds me of my wife. For somebody like that, that's easy.
It seems now that you haven't, since the first time you ever came on the podcast, that you seem a lot more I don't know, a lot more balanced, bro, family wise and all that stuff. Because I know you're like just a hardcore guy that wants to be doing the training, doing this.
Yeah.
But how have you kind of found that sweet spot with the family?
Yeah, it took me a hot minute, man, because when I got out, obviously I realized I lost my purpose in my community, and I gained my purpose in my community. But then I had to work on being a husband, because even though at that point I'd been a husband for a couple years, a father for a couple years, I was in the military, right? That's like being a military husband, and a military father. You leave, you come back, you take them to the movies, you have dinners, and then rinse and repeat, right? Now you're here, now you're there. So I was like, okay, well, I have to get to know my kids. I have to be there for my kids for as much as possible. I got to help with the small things, the big things. Same with my wife. She was doing everything. Now, hey, guess what, guys? Not every day I'm at the range or on the mats, freaking choking people out or getting choked out or shooting, or sometimes I'm just at the house sweeping and mopping, doing the laundry, picking up the dog shit, fucking picking up the cat shit. And then getting to basically date my wife again, to connect as adults, right? Because I got married in September. We're about to be 16 years together.
Nice, congrats.
For the majority of the first chunk, I was gone, bro. So now it's like starting to do that, and then realize, like, look, man, you know what? You can't make up for lost time, but you got to do the best that you can for now.
Now, you said something that I thought was powerful, and I think many civilians like myself will never truly understand this. Losing a purpose. Like when military guys come back, they come to the States. What is that? What is that huge feeling that you guys feel like you're losing when you're not in the war anymore, out there in the field?
Man, what? And then it's like it's hard. Some people might not understand the concept, or maybe they can try to put themselves in our shoes. But like, let's say you come home. You're fighting with your wife. The kids don't listen to you because you're never home or whatever, and then you have all, the car payments or the transmission took a shit. And then you realize, you know what, man, war was so much easier. It was just, hey, you and I fight together. Don't let them kill us. We have to get them first. And that's all we have to worry about, right? There's that aspect. But then there's that, even more than that, is the purpose. I get out and it's like the honeymoon stage. Everyone's happy that you're home. You're happy that you're home. But after a while, especially like someone like me who went in as a teenager, I joined when I was 17 and I got out when I was 24, it's like 25. Oh, no, wait. 26. Shit. Yeah. When I was 26. So you're like, my entire early adulthood was doing this. Now I don't have that. Now who am I, or what am I? And you're trying to find that purpose. So it's tough. I found it by first inviting the veterans from my martial arts gym and school to come watch the UFC fights. And then my purpose was doing this, these veteran events through my company, OG Pumpkin, where we sell rash guards and all that stuff. But so that gave me my community and my purpose. Not everybody needs to do that. So when they can't figure it out, man, they're lost. This is why so many veterans you see out there lost in pills or drugs, or they kill themselves. It's because they don't have their purpose and their community. And then, luckily for me, I have a good support system. Like when I came home, I've known my wife since I was 7 years old. Her family's here. My family's here. So we came home to something. I got homies who were like, I was like, hey man, you in the Marine Corps? That's awesome, dude. Like, so why you still here? If you're from Florida, or you're from whatever. They're like, there's nothing back there for me, so I'm just here. And that's sad. That's sad to hear, man.
Yeah, well, a lot of times people leave those places because they feel like they got nothing, so
Yeah.
they leave there and don't want to go back. Umpa Jr. $2 super chat, appreciate that. Ask him about Tim Kennedy, Rob O'Neill, and Luttrell.
So okay, I went on Emo Brown's podcast,
Okay.
and one of the guys, sorry if I forget your name, homie, but he goes, you love the veteran community, the veteran community. You love them you love that community so much, you do so much, but guess what, man? Sometimes that community doesn't love you back, and it's true. Because people ask me, why aren't you as big as these people? I think a part of it is because I'm brown.
Oh yeah.
And I'm small, and I represent something that they don't know what to fucking do with, because it's just former gang member and all this and this. But in reality, I feel like I do a better job representing the special operations mindset than all these big famous special operation guys. Because when you talk about a mindset and they're like, hey, you got to believe in yourself, and you got to dedicate, you got to work, and you got to do this, you got to do that. So many of us look at these giants and they're like, well, no shit, it's easy for you to say because you look like this.
Right.
But when they see somebody like me, they're like, bro, this was not 6'6", and he doesn't look like Thor, and he made it. He did all this shit that they did. So obviously the mindset stuff, there's something to it. So these people, they're so big that sometimes I have no idea, maybe narcissism or whatever. But what he's talking about, Tim Kennedy, is Tim Kennedy lied. He didn't have to. He was in the UFC, and he was a Green Beret. That alone right there makes him a fucking badass.
Yes.
But he lied about certain things about missions. He said that all this shit in his book, and then somebody called him out. Shout out to Anti-Hero Podcast. They called him out, and he was like, bullshit, this and this, this and that. And then Anti-Hero Podcast came with the receipts. They brought the dudes that were in his unit, his commander, onto it, and then they all went on. They were like, yeah, he's a liar, he's in this and that. And so many people that are part of this circle that whether they like to admit it or not, or they have admitted it, is they're basically gatekeepers to the who makes it famous, right? Because certain big veteran guys end up on like Joe Rogan's podcast or whatever, and these and so many of them have turned out to be fucking liars. I don't know how many more of them, and I know more of them will fall because it's not my business as they shit. But there's a lot of people in the special operations community that we give them too much leeway, and because they were former SEAL Team 6 guys, former CAG, former Ranger, former whatever, that we put them up here. But in reality, we'd be like, okay, you did that and it matters, but who are you now? How are you as a father? How are you as a teammate, as a husband? And in reality, because they play the game that I don't, they look super cool, super good, and they're up here, right? The other guys, they fucking lied too, dude. And like the dude who said he fucking shot Bin Laden, he didn't shoot Bin Laden.
Oh, that one wasn't true?
No, he didn't shoot Bin Laden.
Really? But he came out and wrote it, and I mean,
Yeah.
I saw a documentary not too long. I think they just put out on Netflix not too long ago, and he came out there and said his whole story. I mean, for somebody like myself who doesn't know any better, you're gonna be, oh yeah, this fool shot Bin Laden.
But this is the thing. There's a lot of veterans, civilians that are actually within the know of the 2A gun veteran community, right?
Okay.
So when people that know things, they're like, oh yeah, Rob O'Neill, I know who he is. He did this, and that. And then a CAG guy, shout out to Anti-Hero Podcast again. He was he went on, he's like, everybody knows Rob O'Neill didn't kill Bin Laden. And the guy was like, oh, wait, what? He goes, yeah, everybody knows. And he goes, not everybody knows.
Not everybody.
And he goes, well, we know. Everybody in the special operations community knows.
In the circle.
And the thing with the lone survivor guy, they went after him too, because some of the things that you were hearing off that mission, and then people maybe know it famously from the movie Lone Survivor,
right,
with Marky Mark. The people that were on there, right, on the aftermath, not during the actual main event, because obviously there's only one survivor.
Right.
They're like, we found him with ammo. So in the movie, when he's in this super crazy gunfight and he shot everything and he had nothing, and he's like, that's not how it went. And then the Afghan who helped him survive, when he saw the movie and heard the book, he was like, that's not how it happened. But they get so big that they're almost protected, and a lot of people were scared to even say anything, because again, these people are the gatekeepers of like who becomes famous. The cat guy from Anti-Hero Podcast was like, no, he's a fucking liar. And they would bring people and they came with the receipts.
But they would, but then I mean, there was some stuff in there that it was hero like. It's just they.
Yeah, it was. And that's the thing, man. It's like they didn't have to say so much. The real thing was fucking cool as it was, but they had to do this. And then if somebody can correct me or not, but Rob O'Neill came out and it was like, hey, I didn't write the book. The Navy wrote it for me.
Oh, that's right.
So
yes, I remember that.
what it falls down to is recruitment. Right? What is good for the military? Well, we have these stories. Let's put a little sprinkle of Hollywood. We write the book, we do the movie. Awesome for recruitment.
Absolutely. I do remember that. Yeah, he came out, but after that, the movie's already out. The majority of the population has already been affected by it.
And guess what? Most people won't even hear that, oh, it's not real.
And if they do, they'll say guys like you or the other guy with the podcast, oh, they're just haters because they didn't do it or something like that.
And that's what happened with Tim Kennedy. He's like, I was a huge fan of Tim Kennedy. I started fighting in Muay Thai as an active duty ranger because of Tim Kennedy. I was a ranger at 175, which is in Savannah, Georgia. And I was training Muay Thai, because like most of us that watch like Ninja Turtles, Street Fighter, and stuff like that. I always wanted to be like them. So I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me go learn martial arts. And my coach was like, hey, man, but you ever think about fighting? I was like, nah, man, I'm an active duty ranger. I leave all the time for training or this and that. And he goes, there's a Green Beret who fights MMA. At that time, I think he was in Strike Force, not in the UFC yet.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I've heard of him. And I was like, you know what, man? If he can do it, I can do it too. So I started fighting in Muay Thai. And so I feel like I still would have been in the martial arts community, but I dove deeper into it because of Tim Kennedy. So when his book came out, I bought that book. I didn't listen to it because I have a bunch of books on that I haven't listened to yet. So when the Anti-Hero Podcast, when I first started hearing about them and seeing these clips that they were saying that all these dudes were liars and this and this, and then Tim Kennedy came on, and I was like, I was still kind of in denial. I was like, you know what? No, man, I don't know. And then they read a chapter from his book, and civilians don't understand the lingo, but I do.
Okay.
So the lingo within all this that they were saying in the book, I was like, bro, that's not how that goes. That's
not protocol.
You don't do that. And then by the end of that podcast, I was like, he's a fucking liar. And then he did this like rebuttal that you can find on his Instagram, where he's like, no, that's not what it is, that's not or whatever. And then Anti-Hero Podcast was like, oh yeah? Oh, watch this. I'm going to bring on your commander and two of your former teammates. And then when they themselves are like, no, he's a fucking liar. And then all this stuff comes out. And again, it's because they were...
What was the main line that he was saying, though, that everybody was kind of offended on? Because I could see somebody, making the story a little bit more.
So the main thing, the biggest thing was that he said he had a Purple Heart. That means people don't know, if you got wounded, that you got a Purple Heart, right?
Right.
And then the second biggest thing, at least in my book, is that he said he had killed an X amount of people from this sniper tower, which in the community, there's not like thousands and thousands of us that have done something like that. So we would have known. Everybody would have known. So for him to be like, yeah, and this one day I was on the the sniper gun rifle, whatever, oh, and I killed X amount of people, and you'd be like, bro, everybody would have heard that shit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So he to this day hasn't like.
So this is what happened. I went to SHOT Show this year. If people don't know who SHOT Show is, what SHOT Show is this big thing that happens in Vegas. Is a big convention. You have to be a vendor or part of a country's military to go there.
Right.
And it's basically about some of the latest and greatest equipment, firearms, and so on, right? Everybody was talking about him. Is he gonna show up? And he did show up for like a little bit, but he didn't go to these big meetings or parties that normally you go after the convention.
Yes.
And immediately after that, the biggest sponsors that he had silently dropped him.
Mm.
And then Staccato, go on Staccato's Instagram, and they even made a post about him. And then some of the other ones just like silently dropped him or scrubbed him entirely from their social media and website.
Now, like with the Purple Heart, why would he lie about that? That's something that somebody can very easily look up and say.
But this is the thing: when you are so high, you feel untouchable. You can say and do whatever you want. And if
People
you
believe
talk,
it.
who cares? He's somebody little. What can he do? What reach does he have? What influence does he have?
Wow. So, but in your guys' community, it's kind of small, so they knew, like, man, what's up with this guy?
So a lot of people just stood and watched, and then people are calling him out on other things. But they're like, this is the thing: is you and I, we're on social media, YouTube and stuff like this. But the vast majority of the people from the special operations community, they're not. They might have an Instagram, but they're not in the business of showing themselves or talking.
Right.
Or have a YouTube channel, or some of them don't even have a social media.
And the fact is, you don't got to lie to kick it, man.
Yeah, you don't.
Hey, Chris, let's put the phone number up there real quick. See if we can get some calls. Got to call my mama here in a second. That was her calling me right now. I was supposed to meet her at the house right now, so I'll be there by 2. All right, if you guys want to call in real quick, talk to Angel, have any questions, 747-279-8109, 747-279-8109. You got the phone's right there. What would you say to a kid that is thinking about going to the military and doesn't know which branch he or she wants to go to?
I would say first, okay, you're gonna have more fun in the special operations community. So if you can, I would say train up, right? Mentally prepare yourself, physically prepare yourself. You're gonna have way more fun in the special operations community. And there's so many jobs that you could do within the special operations community. Obviously, most of them are geared towards combat, but you're gonna have the best funding, the best schools, the best resources. At our compound, we had not one but 2 multi-million-dollar gyms with staff, who used to be in the UFC or who used to be the strength conditioning coach for the Steelers or whatever, right? At your disposal. And you have the best gear, the best, whatever. And then if you maybe want to get the benefits, but you're like, man, I don't want to go die or whatever. Guess what? You can be like in the band. I'm not sure if the band's still there. I know they've been thinking about disbanding. You can be part of the band. You can be supply. Supply means you're basically work like a big Costco. You're just hand out stuff. You don't even fight. You can be in the medical field, right? You don't have to be on the front line. You can just. There's even dentists in the military. There's so many jobs that are not combat related, and guess what? All you have to do is, I think at the time they were handing out like 3-year contracts.
Right.
I'm not sure what the minimum is now. You get benefits for the rest of your life. If you get hurt, I don't know of any other profession where you get hurt and they're going to give you a percentage for the rest of your life. And you have education benefits. They pay for your schools and they give you a nice housing allowance so you can go to school and focus on school. And you got the home loan thing where I know plenty of people who have used it and they get 0 down. And
Nice.
Unless I'm mistaken, it's 2%. The interest rate is automatically 2% lower than what it is for the civilian
So
world.
there's great benefits to that right now.
100%, man.
So you can go in there for just 4 years and come on, you still got insurance?
Yes,
for the
sir.
rest? Oh my God.
If you are 100% disabled, I mean not disabled, like service connected, right? Or you get a medically discharged. Like I got a friend who's his wife fell off an obstacle course, messed up her back, and then she like got out, and it wasn't even a year, and she gets full benefits for the rest of her life.
What was the take on is it Chris Kyle, the guy who was American Sniper or something like that?
So his story is sad, right? He's, if I'm not mistaken, he's the one who got killed by a former Marine who was going through some PTSD and stuff like that. So it kind of
like what you do, taking guys in and trying to help them out.
Yeah. So which is why I always pack and I'm always head on the swivel, right? Because I don't want that to happen. We're trying to bring people together, not have an incident happen. As I don't know anything about him personally,
Right.
But within the community, people are like, the movie obviously was exaggerated.
Yeah, of course.
The movie
the movie.
was exaggerated, and that's all. But I mean, that's expected. It's Hollywood.
Yeah, but overall, he did have a lot of
No, yeah.
Right.
He's legit.
right.
He's legit. He's legit. Just the movie,
Oh, but yeah, that's the way movie.
That's Hollywood.
That's Hollywood's gonna
That's
sell it,
Hollywood,
bro.
yeah.
Is there a big competition? I mean, it seems like it in your guys' community as far as like either the podcasting, the social media, that stuff. Is it a healthy competition or is it?
Oh, it's not healthy whatsoever. There are so many gatekeepers within that within that world that they feel like this guy has maybe more combat experience than me, or maybe this guy has more this and this that. He's gonna take away from me.
He's gonna take away from my shine.
He's gonna take away from my shine. He's gonna I can't help him. Or you know what? If he doesn't kiss the ring, then he won't be accepted.
Right.
Right. Which is why I think a big part is fucking why I'm not accepted, or in some of these bigger things. It's like because I don't bow down to anybody. I don't kiss the ring. I don't whatever. I know so many of them have fallen already. They've been exposed. So many more
Right.
are going to be exposed because it's not my business to be saying shit. But all the things that I heard about this and this and that, I'm like,
Coming out little by little.
yes.
You still doing the training thing for? I remember took my wife out there, man. She really enjoyed it with all the
Yeah.
ladies out there, and
Yep.
and at that same place. Or you going all over?
Still, right? So where we do our live fire training is in Silmar and Pyru, and then we have memberships for a membership for for the live fire, but indoor. It's a private indoor range
Oh, nice.
in Santa Monica. But before we go off a little bit off track, man, the biggest thing, guys, that I think
Take the number down, Chris.
that hopefully they get from today is use this the pain, right? It's emotional pain and hate and stuff like and do it to better our community, our
Right.
people, which then in turn will better this country that we all live in and we're together. And we have more in common than we don't.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And I want to thank you for pulling up, man. It's always a great conversation with you, Angel. You bring a great benefit and education to our community, bro. And I wish there was just more people like you. But if somebody really wants to get a hold of you and do some of these sessions and go out there to some of these fire ranges, is there any way they can go without guns where they can rent them or something? Because a lot of people that don't have
Yes.
guns that want to just try them.
Yes, we can. We have that ability, right? We have that ability. So the only thing stopping you is you.
That's right. That's right. So go ahead and look at over there. Let them know where they can find you on social media.
At Angel G Cortez with an S 175, Angel G Cortez 175, or the _OG _pumpkin. And then guys, we train on the mats and off the on the mats and on the range. So come out, man. I would love to have more people from within the community doing this type of training.
That's right, for sure. All right, guys, appreciate you guys in the chat, and hopefully this gave you guys a little insight into Angel's world, and also just a little insight into what's going on out here in America. We can do better. We got to do better for our people, man, because we all we got. Thank you, Angel, and God bless, people. Appreciate you, brother. Oh, yeah.